My one's on. Okay, day number 3, and this time we're going to do a walk and talk. Why? Because we just figured out that we're actually quite clever at the stuff and we can actually quite easily do it. So
although we couldn't figure out the angle just now.
Figure out the angle, or how to turn the mic on either. Yeah. So we're like, what to do?
But anyway, really, we're just killing time because it's 9 o'clock. That's our time.
We've got to wait for our time. We should do it live, but we haven't.
Okay, so day 3. Today, I'm actually more interested to know what you were up to because you were like deep in depth with your laptop, which we'll come to in a minute. Which you were doing a lot of stuff on the passport, but. I guess we should start with, we had a meeting today, which was...
Cha-ching!
You want to tell us about that?
I thought you were going to open it and you're going to start off with.
Okay,
I ended up doing a lot of talking in the meeting to start with, so it's better from an outside perspective.
Sure. Yeah, so we had a meeting today with a Pilates studio in Dubai. And they've been around for 6 years, did you say? 6 years, wasn't it?
9 years of the business, but then 6 years for the studio.
6 years for the studio, yeah. So they're a relatively established business, doing well. And they were interested in the passport. We kind of went there, spoke to eventually met the owner, but there was the kind of the manager there. We spoke to them, and yeah, it was interesting to see. First of all, from my perspective, it was interesting to hear you pitch it to someone that's not me. Do you know what I mean? Like it's someone that I think they weren't quite sure what the offering was. When we got there,
we first walked in there.
Yeah.
Totally.
So there was a little bit
because that's from Amanda. Because Amanda actually reaches out for us, and then Amanda arranges the meeting, and then we go along. So
yeah. So they were like, okay, I'm not quite like what's the collaboration? What do you want to do? Because they explained they do other collaborations. So anyway, to hear you pitch it to somebody who had relatively little understanding about what it was interesting, and how you would explain the products and the offering. So that was really interesting for me.
Some good points or some bad points?
So I think good points were they understood. Like she understood. She seemed to. I mean, that could have been
doing the nod when it comes to the sales.
Yeah,
sales talk
but also the smiling. She was like whenever you would talk about, she was like and then the smile would come on her face, and that was a key sign for me. Is that okay? So she's getting it, she's understanding it, and she thinks it's good.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
so getting it, understanding it, but you could think it's rubbish, and then there's no point.
Exactly.
So I think she realised it was good, and she actually did say to us before the owner came in. She goes, "I really think you should speak to the owner because she would be really into this." So that was a really good, a good sign. I think eventually having some sort of visuals. I know you had your laptop there, and you left them obviously with the access to the portal to play around with. But something visual to begin with might just help. I'm not saying like a PowerPoint presentation, and that's not. It's kind of we don't want death by PowerPoint in any of these situations, but just something visual would be nice and like a succinct message of what it is. But otherwise, I think it was a good opening and a good introduction to what the offering was. They had some really good questions, I think, which were valid. And then when the owner came in, we started to delve more into what their pain points were. Which is
what really wanted to go.
Yeah. So tell me what you thought about that, and what your thoughts on.
Well, it's always different, and when you have like a product like this and you're putting it out into the market, and we've done a few over the last few months where we were just more talking about FFP as a whole, and this time it was like we're very specific on that offering. So I've gone through the PTs and stuff like that, and be specific with your offering. So we're at that point, we're very specific about it, but we're not going into these meetings as trying to sell. We're trying to go into these meetings, or not trying to, we are going to these meetings with an open ear to hear what these pain points are, right? And so it's literally about, because we've been in the industry for so long as well, we can open up with, we understand some pain points, whether it come from lead generation, which is majority of people's problems, right? They're like, I can't find any leads. It really comes down to simplicity. If you're going to do some advertising from free social media, some paid ads, I should say, when it comes to advertising, or you do print or radio or TV or whatever, but the same thing happens, and traditionally, people just don't put the work in, or when they do, they get leads because they get the wrong audience. But here we were like, okay, we get intro that, and then she goes, yes, I understand that, and then she roll on, and that was great because it's not just us assuming, it's getting that proof of that is the pain point. They want people in through the door. They don't want bargain hunters. They want people to become loyal to be there at their facility, which is a big standout. And then the other point of it was, for small businesses, another pain point is you have a small business to start with, operational costs do not change, and so the margins are extremely tight. So for her to be around 6 years later, 9 years, is first of all kudos to Controlology. That's the people we saw, and knowing that and hearing that is like great for us. It's like going, well, look, we're trying to find a solution for you so it doesn't eat into your margins. So you're not just trying to survive, but you can actually thrive. And to be very clear on that too, the reality is in fitness, you're not really in it for big money. There's very small business models when it comes to fitness where you make a whole lot. So it was really interesting to hear and get that proof of, or that reassurance, I suppose, that a provider has the same inklings or understandings or thoughts or pain points in that referral. So yeah, and it was a big learning from the perspective of, in the last few weeks alone, so much has developed, and the platform is, I want to say, not complex, but there's a lot there.
Yeah.
And so how to level that out when delivering or explaining bits and pieces was a big learning curve on that.
Yeah,
side.
so if going back to your question earlier, that would be one thing that I felt we got it across, but and then their feedback was that she did say there's quite a lot here.
It's pretty comprehensive. Yeah.
It's quite comprehensive. Where you're like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So I think finding a way to succinctly kind of deliver, these are the features, this is what it does.
Pick the main features.
Pick the main things and just go with that. And I think that would be. But luckily for us, they were understanding. Like I said, they got the concept, so it didn't overwhelm them too much. She was like, oh, this is cool, but I can see there's quite a lot here. Yeah. Hence, they wanted to keep, get access to it, have a play around with it. Mm-hmm. I think that's really key. And I think I like what you said about we weren't going in there to try and sell. It was more market research, right? We want to find out
100%.
What is it that you, as a business owner, where are your pain points, what are you struggling with, what do you want? Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes when someone's got something that they're offering, you don't often get that approach, right? It's often like, this is what I have, take it or leave it.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think going with a different approach, saying, look, whatever you want, we can kind of work on a way to integrate it. If we see there's a demand for it, if we see there's a logic to it, then sure. So I think that was quite interesting from that perspective.
Well, that's a really good point too, because I know a lot of people that hear one thing and they go, oh yeah, one person said it, so it's either a really bad negative comment and they go like, oh yeah, I should take that out, I should be a part of it, or it's a really positive comment and they go like, oh, that's it, yeah, we've hit the gold mine. Yeah. Which is, when it comes to building and developing, is absolutely not true. You need to learn how to, and I think there's a skill to learn, is how to take the information, let it sit, let it sit for a while, and not have it come from one source, but multiple sources, not 2, not 3, I'd say 100 plus as far as sources, like if you're getting there. And so when we come to these meetings and we talk about them, we're at the end of the Jumeirah track type of thing. So it's it's like, if you want to develop your offering, you deliver what you start with. If people buy it, obviously it's a good offering to start with. But if you want to keep it and you want to develop it, because times change, people get better, you need to grow with a market. So going back to what Sonny's saying, is that the old expression, you have one mouth and 2 ears. So use 2 ears and shut your mouth. Yeah, basically. Yeah. If I'm going to be direct and blunt about it. Yeah. If you want, you are there to learn, because at the end of the day, they are your employer and you should be listening to them, because this is what they're after. Yeah. And if you really want to have a good product, if that's what you're serious about, then eyes open, ears open, mouth shut, and listen away. So very, very good. And that's like the approach.
I think I liked that the owner was an owner-operator. She was, when we got there...
It's very common around here too. It's very common.
Yeah, but for me that was quite refreshing, because when we got there, she was actually teaching a class. So she was teaching, she had a PT session with
walked down the reform side
on a reformer. And she was talking about that, how she's passionate about what she does. She's come from the industry, she's worked as a trainer, as a Pilates instructor. So that side of it was quite nice, because she was just saying, all she really wants to do is focus on delivering a really good quality of service to her clients and her members. So all of this other stuff, like the booking system and the payment system and all that's just stuff that she just doesn't really want to be causing her, using up her time. We've been talking about this today a little bit, about like, focusing on the things that you're good at within your business, and then getting other people or products or services or whatever it is to take care of all the other stuff.
100%.
And I think she definitely kind of sees the value in having a platform like this to help her with that.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
So that was the big one of the
So
day.
that was the meeting, yeah. So that was good.
Very good meeting, very good. Like now, so the process on that one is Jenny and that will continue to just have a play around with it. No, it was very open about, look, here's my number. Here we have a feedback system on the platform as well to get as much quick feedback as well.
Yeah, that was interesting because she was talking about support, right? That how she was working with some other bigger companies in this space, and how when they have a problem, like they can't get through to anyone, right?
Yeah.
There's AI chatbots that you're stuck behind, and we've all probably been there. We're stuck in a chat with an AI bot, and we just want to speak to a real
human. No,
give me a human. Are you sure? I can't help you. And I think she suffered a little bit of that. She was like, I just want to be able to speak to someone. So having that direct contact with the actual vendor or the provider is a huge bonus, and that's again a good thing to learn from.
Totally. I think one of the biggest things too is that when a lot of people I find like this is in the fitness industry, is a lot of people try to sell the product instead of listen to the client's needs, and so you'll find a lot of people when they go and have talks and discussions, they're trying to just tell people, oh yeah, this is how it should be and how it's done. So if you're looking, even when it's from a personal training point of view or a specialist point of view, it's not about telling them about your product, it's about listening to what their requirements are, their needs are. So big learning and a big thing. Service is a big thing.
For sure. So what were you up to the rest of the day? Because you had your head buried in the laptop as always. What were you working on? What were you trying to figure out?
It's a couple of different things. Obviously, so we're at a point where it's about refining. Like it's not about building really, although I have done a little bit of this. It's about refining what we already have. So the passport is there to help people connect and engage. You know, we've got a booking platform there as far as being able to search and then book into spaces, right? And then hearing what she talks about, and we're doing this beforehand anyway, but it just gives further authority to put more time in just offering something better by hearing, okay, this should be faster, this should be smoother, this should be less clicks, this word should not be here, this word should be here. This layout's not as clear or as intuitive as you think it is because I'm getting lost when I walk around the platform. Right, so for me, the first always part is we had this meeting, hearing what she's saying, is just adapting small little bits and pieces. The partner portal, for example, the left-hand menu was just putting the panels in the right places, because they were a little bit out of place. It didn't really make sense, and it's such a small thing, but it's actually a large thing because, again, the user experience is what matters: ease, speed, convenience. What everyone's after. So if you don't have that, whether it be a physical service or in our case a platform, then you're missing out. And so for me, that was the first part of it. And then also it was about, because she talked about how managing the facility, like there's a pain points for her. She didn't know how to do that to start with. She's learned and developed that skill set, and there's still things now today that other software does well and doesn't do well. So it's like taking that feedback, and I'm not going to release this right now because if you want to have a meeting, we can have a meeting. But it was just taking those learnings and then having a look at the platform and then going on with that mindset. So taking a bit of feedback and now having a look and not just thinking in my mind, yes, it's correct, this is right, but does it really hit the mark of what she was saying? And so, and that was one thing I started doing. And if you ask Sanjay, my head is in that computer at the moment because I do want the best product for our users from a provider partner point of view and from a member point of view, passport identity, right? And this is probably where we can, one of the biggest things as far as the passport is identity. It is, if you're serious about active lifestyle, you should have a passport. Simple as that, right? And so, another thing is about the language that you use. It's the same thing when you do training. It's like going, okay, I think this weight's heavy. And as soon as you start saying you think it's heavy, you start talking your way out of it. You're like, never mind, I'm not going to do this.
I kind of did this morning with our run.
Literally. Which is another story. That's how we started our day, by the way. Side note, that's how we're building the platform and that. And so it's like, well, actually you have to live the lifestyle. So, But so it's like, mentally, you're out of this. So the passport is a community of people who are serious about their lifestyle, and it's understanding better, because that's what we do, understanding better, this is our perspective, but there's also additional perspectives, and it's making sure that identity or message, and to give you a simple example, we don't call it an app, we call it a passport. Because you're getting your passport. We're not based around technology. We use technology, but the actual part of it is you have your passport because you identify that you are serious about active living and you want to be a part of people that are positively speaking about you can lose the weight, you can get fitter. Here are the groups to improve your yoga, your surfing, your kite surfing, or whatever sport you're into. So that's another thing that's kind of going through the mind at the moment, the language that's in the platform that's used. So who we call and stuff like that. So that's a bit of a, before I go off into a massive tangent type of thing, that's part of the whole passport as well.
So do you feel today, going on the theme of some of these videos that we're doing, do you feel today that you've moved that needle forward in some way?
I don't think it's about as moved the needle forward, because I'm thinking that when I think about that, I think about the development or sign-ups.
Sure.
But
okay.
but from a I see the needle moving forward in the importance of understanding your customer.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah,
like,
that's huge. It's super important.
So
right?
that moves, like,
yeah.
Because you can have all the ideas in the world, and people mostly do have ideas, but until it's out in the world, and I've had this conversation so many times. Oh, we spent 2 years building it, and then didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So one learning I've taken that from in the past is speed is key. Like, it literally is. Like, build it fast, get it out there fast. It doesn't have to be perfect, and that's what we've done. It's not perfect, but now it's out there, and having a meeting with someone who's at least to have a talk. I mean, gladly it went well, but
yeah,
you know, you have to go have those meetings. And to be honest, and I foresee this, is there'll be people who won't like the product.
Right.
They'll be like, no, it's not for me. Cool, great, thank you for the opportunity to at least let you know and introduce it.
They're not your people.
Not
right?
people.
They're not who we're targeting. Right? And that I think that's really important. Something I've discovered in the work that I'm doing, you know, with stuff I'm working on in the UK, it's exactly that. It's like, there's nothing wrong if you are convicted that you're targeting the right people, you've got something that solves a problem, and it's good quality, then you stand by it, right? You stand by it, and yes, make the changes and listen to the feedback, but ultimately there are going to be those people that it just doesn't resonate with, and that's okay. You cannot, you know, we talked about this, you cannot build something that suits everyone, right? And we I think it was yesterday's video we talked about it in with the iPhone and things like that. So I don't know if that was recorded or not, but it was a conversation we had anyway.
Did you record that one?
I don't know. But anyway, my point is that every offering, every product, there is a niche, certain demographic, and knowing who they are, as you said, knowing your customer, is probably one of the most critical things when it comes to developing anything, I think.
Yeah, massively. So yeah, anyway, so I was trying to think, it wasn't really a bad barrier today.
No,
main point.
I think this is the benefit of doing things like this, because you kind of just review it and you kind of, okay, this is good, this happened, and then even if it was, I mean, you're saying this meeting went well, but even if it didn't, that would have been a positive in my book, because it's like you feel, okay, well, why? We would have inquired a little bit more. We would have found out just from the conversation, okay, they wanted this and this is not offering it right now, so it's not right for them. Okay, cool. This is good for future learning. So I think, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything really bad that can happen in that way, as long as you're, you know, getting in front of people, which we are. We've got some other meetings this week happening, which is cool.
Yep.
We're making the amendments to the platform. You're working on the coding. And I think that all of those things are important things that just need to be ticked off along the way. So
yeah, massively. So that was pretty much day 3. Started with the run in the morning at 5:30.
5:30, right on this track, about 4 k's down that way. We're back here in the evening.
Had a bit of a coffee to start that one off.
Yeah.
Back home, cleaned up, and then got into it, and then had a meeting at 12, and then did some more work, and then came back and back to the hotel, did some more work, and now, you know, good day's work. I'll probably do some more on the computer, to be fair.
Yeah.
But
do it all again tomorrow.
Do it all again tomorrow. We're out doing for a walk and talk video as well.
Yeah.
Which, again, I'm going to keep reiterating. Part of this, like, now we're trying to, well, definitely myself personally, to get, say, it's part of the job.
Yeah.
It's what you need to do, because it's a great way to release. So, day 3.
See.
Fun.
See you tomorrow.